Welcome, Bethany. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. It'd be great if you could start off by giving an introduction and background to the audience.
Sure, absolutely. I am really happy to join your symposium today. I'm a scientist, a public health practitioner, a lawyer, I think as Dan mentioned. I'm an investment advisor. I'm also an angel investor and an LP in a couple of venture capital funds. I grew up in Western New York and have a lot of roots in Buffalo, but I am practicing law and living in New Jersey, working in New York and New Jersey for the past 20 years or so. And I live here in North Jersey, so I come into the city often, but I'm keeping myself busy with 3 kids and a French bulldog. So I'm busy all around. Nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, and again, thank you so much. Bethany was actually on our Women's Health Tech Wednesday yesterday, so super excited to continue that conversation with you. And given your dual roles as a lawyer as well as an investor, how do you see the legal and the financial aspects intersecting with the goal of advancing value-based care in healthcare?
Sure. Well, truthfully, value-based care and outcomes is behind every aspect of what I'm doing. So I'm always looking to contribute to a process that will help a patient with a healthcare problem. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I live a very mission-driven life, whether it's what I'm doing in my investing or what I'm doing for my professional career as a lawyer. And then within that, even within that context, I really focus on working with innovators to design their submission strategies, their reimbursement strategies. I lead regulatory and compliance diligence activities for investors, honestly, because if you don't have a solid foundation of funding, then you're not going to get your innovation to the patients. I mean, always the end result of everything that I'm doing is focused towards getting patients to have value-based care. And so I think that this is something that we really need the legal and regulatory system to start thinking this way with a mission-driven focus, because all of us working as individuals, leading with that kind of passion is not necessarily cutting it if the structure itself is not enhancing those types of endpoints.
And absolutely. And on that topic, when you mentioned strategies and innovation, so from an investor standpoint, what strategies or innovations do you believe have the potential to really enhance value-based care models and ultimately drive those positive outcomes for patients, but also at the same time remaining financially sustainable?
Yeah, I've worked extensively with data and statistical models, and I have biostatistic and epidemiology background that I've done ever since my MPH. And all throughout the last 20 years, I've worked with data collection, substantiation of products and development. And really that foundation has prepared me for what is the current AI buzz, right? I mean, AI-driven tools are what I actually would put my money on for achieving the balance between accuracy, efficiency, and finally realizing the promise of value-based care. Actually, one of the first presentations I gave as a baby lawyer back in like 2003 or 2004, 20 years ago, was about value-based care. And so I thought that was kind of interesting to be asked to speak on this topic again, because we are still talking about it. It is a promise that has not yet been realized. And I believe that smarter interventions, AI-informed personalized medicine, cheaper drug and diagnostic development coming through the AI process to make those drugs cheaper at the front end, as opposed to thinking about pricing controls at the back end. All of these things are going to finally revolutionize and be the turning point for value-based care models. I really think we're on the cusp of that happening.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to, like you said, to kind of come full circle with where you started and now talking about it again. And so in terms of like the legal frameworks and supporting the implementation of value-based care, like you mentioned in certain initiatives, what roles do you see that lawyers can really play with facilitating these endeavors?
So I mentioned this earlier, when a legal framework is designed to improve the likelihood of a desirable outcome, like improving a value-based care model, there's 2 ways that we're trying to accomplish that goal. One is the use of a carrot, right? An incentive, a reward, something being offered to accomplish that goal. And the other is a stick, some kind of penalty, some sort of bad outcome, or something that will make you feel bad, whether it's a financial penalty or you're not allowed to participate in something. And those 2 pieces, the carrot and the stick, are really different ways to try and incentivize action towards a goal. And when we're designing a legal framework, whether it's the reimbursement, the privacy, the product development, right, we have to be carefully balancing those carrots and the sticks, because unfortunately, if we're looking at a particular vector, a single factor, we start applying a carrot, we apply a stick, carrot, stick, carrot. All of a sudden, you can end up with really counterproductive. So one step forward, one step back, you're still in the same place you started. And so it is important when you're thinking really macro level about designing legal frameworks to continue to step out from the weeds, step back up, look at the forest, understand, what it is that you're really trying to do, and make sure that we're moving the ball towards the goal as opposed to just keeping everybody staying in one place, too afraid to move forward.
No, I love that. Definitely always looking forward to the next goal and what you can achieve. And as we're coming up to the end of our session, I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on how can investors and also legal professionals work together to create an environment that encourages healthcare providers to adopt and also succeed in value-based healthcare initiatives.
All right, I'm glad we got to this question because I honestly believe the more risk and capitation that providers will take on, the more invested they'll actually be in and benefit from pursuing things that are hard to bill fee for service, right? So the digital tools that I mentioned, when providers have a universe to select from, they can improve patient outcomes. It's totally disconnected from whether or not they're going to get paid. Then providers themselves become the incubators for innovation. So if you think about it, if they've taken on risk and capitation, they don't really care how they get the good result, the value-based care, the patient-centered initiative. They just care that it's happening because that's how they're going to make money. And if they have that freedom, if they get moved away from that fee-for-service model, then they're actually going to become incubators for innovation themselves. They're going to start to think about how can we bring in this interesting tool? What can we do to actually make this better? And then you get investors who start looking at healthcare providers as innovators instead of just service providers. Once the investor starts seeing a healthcare provider as an innovator, and they actually are looking for them to validate those tools and achieve the outcomes, then we get an investment cycle and sort of a process that's more akin to biotech. And there you're going to have high risk, high reward outcomes, and all of this mind shift. If you can actually change the way people think about this process, providers need to be invested in it, patients have to participate in it, and investors need to reward this process. And then we will actually finally get to the ability to have, true value-based care initiatives being successful.
No, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and kind of sharing us both from the investor and the legal standpoint and how we can both come together to create value-based care.